Today I've got a story from when I was a kid. My grandmother, she lived in close to Salt Lake City, like up on the mountain, at the base of the mountain. And one day I looked up to the top of the mountain. I just saw this tree. I saw this tree that just appeared to be like exactly on the crest of the mountain. And I thought it would be the coolest thing for me to be able to achieve that tree, to be able to touch the tree, to be able to say that I went there at the very top of the mountain. And I was pretty excited. So I asked my parents, I asked my grandma, they said it was dangerous. They said I shouldn't. My goal was to be at the very top of that mountain, the top of that tree. I felt like Captain Cook, Magellan, Marco Polo, etc. I thought, I want to go somewhere that no one else has gone. I want to do something that nobody else has done. And truthfully, I also thought that it would make me a better person. I thought that, hey, if I touch that tree, I'll be cooler. I'll have more friends. I'll have a story or whatever. And in fact, I didn't come away with such a great story because let me back up a little bit. I wanted to get permission from my parents, from my grandma, and that wasn't easy trying to convince them because it was fairly dangerous. It was really, really steep. There was not a trail that went to it. So you just really had to just climb up the side of the mountain. There's dangers of rattlesnakes for sure in that area, mountain lions and other things. They didn't really think it was a good idea, but I had my heart set on it, and I can be a little convincing when I want to. So one day I went and they allowed me to go and hike. And so I'm hiking. It's super duper rocky. Like I'm losing my footing, and there's things that you can climb up. And by the way, on my way down the hill, those were much, much more challenging. Like these things that you could barely climb up. It's almost impossible when you're facing down the hill. You don't have the same grip. You don't have the same sight visually. And so you can't really see what's underneath. So it was hard coming back down, but as I'm heading up this hill, as I'm heading up to try to touch this tree, this amazing, majestic tree that just seemed to be right at the peak of the mountain, it was all right. I kept looking at the tree. I kept thinking, how am I going to go around? What am I going to climb up? How am I going to get up that? And eventually I made it. Eventually I got to the tree. But it was very underwhelming, and I was, in fact, quite disappointed. And I felt, I would say, just confused and disoriented because the tree was not at the freaking top of the mountain. The tree wasn't even close to the top of the mountain. And in fact, I would say I probably had another 100 miles to go of hiking, probably at a minimum, if I wanted to get to the actual top of the mountains. But so I get up here, and what I notice is it's just the top of what you can see. And I was like, is this the same tree? I was staring at it the whole time. I was following it the whole time. I kept my eye on this tree the whole time. But when I got to the tree, I was like, this can't be that tree. What did I do to mess up? Because the mountain goes on so much farther. And I thought, this sucks. It was quite disappointing. And I thought about, like, I'm going to have to go back down the hill, and I was going to tell everybody that I climbed to the very top of the mountain, but that wasn't even close to the top of the mountain, And so as I'm heading up, as I'm heading down, as I get to the tree, it's a bunch of disappointment. I felt empty-handed. I felt like a failure. And, I went to this thing that I thought would change my life. I went to this thing. I achieved this goal I thought would make me a better person, a cooler person, smarter, whatever. I thought that ultimately by attaining this goal, this destination, that my life would be better, that I would be better.